Matter, we're hearing private member statements. I call the member for Maitland.
Thank you, Mr Temporary Speaker. I rise to speak on the re-engineering of the New South Wales Police Force, which occurred in January 2018 in my electorate, and its impact that it's been having on the police thus far. Before these changes were implemented, I raised several concerns about the re-engineering plans with the Honourable Troy Grant, Minister for Police, as well as with the Police Commissioner. This was in October last year. The year before that, having had a question on notice not answered about the number of police in comparison to other electorates in the Hunter, I conducted my own research on the matter. And I note from that research that Maitland Police were not resourced to the same levels as other Hunter communities when issues such as geographical area, population numbers and population growth, crime rates and crime complexity were taken into account. An analysis which was supported by senior police at the state level. This state of affairs could reasonably be expected to be exacerbated by plans to relocate the police headquarters of my local area command from Maitland to Port Stephens. Other objections I had to the proposed changes included the removal of one local area commander from Maitland, with the local area commander to be drawn from the new district at Port Stephens, and that senior crime positions would be removed and replaced on a one-to-one basis with more junior operational staff. In other words, all the savings would be going into general revenue rather than into my community. There was a failure initially to redirect any of those savings to increase members of the force or their resources. There was also a plan to relocate one of Maitland's 2 domestic violence liaison officers to Cessnock. I also raised the issue that is being faced across the state with this re-engineering, and that is its impact on the operation of the safety action meetings, which are at the core of the Safer Pathways model. And I note that this is creating ongoing problems for WDV CAS, their tenders, which are up at the end of this financial year, to now be tendered out again and not just rolled over, despite the fact that the people who work in those services have been working at more than 100% additional workload for only 20% extra to their organisations. Faced with an opportunity back in Maitland to put more boots on the ground at a time when Maitland Police are struggling to contain rising crime rates with their limited resources, this re-engineering of police was planned to see management and administration positions shuffled, boundaries moved and one less officer on the ground in Maitland, along with the perhaps collapse of the Safer Pathways model in this state. The Police Association and a community petition were initiated by me, requesting 20 new officers in Maitland. 10 were promised by the government, 7 have been delivered, and with 234 new police recruits just going out to start their new jobs in New South Wales this week, not one was sent to Maitland. Maitland police officers have told me of their struggles in contending with multiple life-threatening situations simultaneously without the proper resources to address them all. The harrowing testimonials flatly disprove comments made by the Parliamentary Secretary for the Hunter, Mr Scott McDonald, who last week insisted there's no evidence a life has been lost or endangered because of police numbers. Just as there is no prospect of new officers other than the 7 out of the promised 10 to bolster Maitland's police force, Maitland's rising crime rates show few signs of abating. While the Boxer statistics recorded a plateau in crime rates over the last 2 years, analysis tells a different story. In 2016, Maitland saw the 3rd fastest growth in domestic violence in New South Wales, a scourge we continue to grapple with. Just this year, in the last 2 months, we saw Maitland record the state's highest numbers of apprehended domestic violence order applications. So this isn't call-outs to domestic violence, but it means that the police, when they're doing their work to deal with these issues, are doing more work than any other police in the state. This is far from the only indication that the crime in Maitland is on the rise. In January and February, 7 incidents involving motorcycle gangs were reported in our area. The number of vehicle thefts has also spiked. I rise today, as I have risen too many times before, to once again implore this government to stop shortchanging the people of Maitland. The rising crime rates, the complexity of criminal activity and the challenging geography, population and growth of that population demand higher force numbers and better resources. I have always supported the Maitland Police, and I commend the excellent work of our force in safeguarding our community and improving our education. But no matter how exemplary the calibre of our officers, no matter how diligent their work, the chronic under-resourcing of Maitland Police hampers their ability to properly respond to protect our residents. In its current state, the lack of police officers in Maitland poses a very real danger, not just to them, but to our entire community. The day may soon arrive when too many incidents are reported on one night and when officers cannot arrive in time to prevent serious harm. That day will be on this government.
We're hearing private